How about if you're in business to business, but the business you're selling to is very small, maybe just a handful of people, like a dental office. Now, I understand you may not be selling to that, but the lessons that you will learn in this episode are critical. And it's not about how to sell to dentists. It's about how to start genuine conversations and what makes great selling and how to work smarter, not harder. I think this interview is one that you want to give to your managers, because what it teaches us is that developing sales skills is more important than just mindless activity. So let's get into the interview. I think you're really going to like it. If you're in the courses, make sure you're checking out the office hours and the one-on-ones. And also, make sure you're checking out our friends over at Co-Video and Pipedrive. Pipedrive's the CRM that I use. It's super simple, easy to use. You should try it out with the Brutal Truth coupon code. All one word, Brutal Truth. You get an extended eval. And on Co-Video, make sure you're checking it out. Give video email a try. It's not for every email. It's not like you have to do it for all of them. But when you really want to connect with somebody and show them that you're a human being, it's pretty powerful. So check it out at covideo.com. I'll sum up the interview at the end and give everybody an update on the courses. Here we go. Hey, Patty Lou, welcome to the show. As way of getting started, tell us about yourself.
Well, thanks so much, Brian Burns. It's great to be here. I really appreciate this opportunity. A little bit about myself. I have been in sales my whole life, basically starting at a very young age. I was somebody who was loving competition, and if there was a way for me to win something, I wanted to do it. And so if I needed to sell something in order to win, then I would do that. So I basically have been in a sales role forever, and I'm not a spring chicken. I feel like I'm 21, but I'm not.
Well, what do you sell today?
I am a sales executive at Patient News, and it's a dental marketing company. So for the past 14 years, I have sold dental marketing to dentists all over North America.
What's dental marketing?
Believe it or not, dentists need to market themselves. I know that sounds crazy, because I know as a consumer, and you go into a dental office, you see all the files in the back and you think, how could they possibly need another patient? Yeah. They need patients just the same as any company needs business. So we create marketing that educates the consumer on the importance of their oral health, and also educates those patients of record for the doctor who are already patients of the doctor. So we create marketing to generate new growth from the community, as well as to keep the patients in the chairs and in the practice that they belong to.
You must like it. You've been there a while. Huh?
I love it.
Yeah.
I actually love it. I really enjoy my job. I love my clients. I love the fact that I'm promoting health is basically the bottom line, because your oral health linked to systemic health is very important. And the more that we know about that, the healthier our society can be. There's a lot of sicknesses and illnesses that are a result of poor oral hygiene. So having a good mouth is good.
Yeah, everybody loves going to the dentist too.
They absolutely hate it.
Yeah. Speaking of which, what is it like? Because you have to market to the dentists themselves. Yeah,
right?
Not the office manager.
Well, that too. It depends on who's the decision maker, and I know that that's a topic that's brought up quite a bit. And in the dental office, it can be a combination of people that are the decision makers.
Yeah.
So that's
and
not
getting their time is hard, because
exactly
that's what they sell, is their time.
Exactly, and it's very difficult to get connected to the dentist necessarily. But that's obviously the goal for me, is to always speak with the dentists themselves.
And what's your territory?
North America.
The whole continent?
Yeah, anywhere. Yes, it's beautiful. We don't have to break down at our company. They don't break it down into individual areas. They might give us some contests and say, okay, I want you to take Florida. I want you to take Chicago or Illinois. I want you to take, and let's see what you can get from those areas. But on the whole, I can call any dental office in North America.
So how do you possibly prioritize your time?
We have the CRM Salesforce, and we are able to move the clients through that CRM and prioritize based on their hotness, if you will. For myself, I think one of the secrets, not a secret to my success, is that I like to talk to people and I'm very personable. I don't have a problem picking up the phone and making that call, cold call or otherwise. So for whatever reason, I have a gut instinct when somebody is hotter than somebody else. And I prioritize by keeping on those hot leads, those hot prospects until they sign.
Okay, so you do get inbound then?
Very rarely. Very rarely. It's mostly outbound.
Okay.
Yeah.
But help me. I mean, there's got to be, how many dentists are there in North America? There's a lot.
Oh gosh, right? Thousands and thousands. I really don't know the numbers, not terrible. I should know, but there's thousands and thousands and thousands.
So where do you decide to start in the morning? I mean,
making
one dentist look better than the other.
I will go through a website, for example, and like just pull somebody up in the system. Sometimes I don't do it normally like other people, I don't think. I will go for names. Let's say I was looking up Dr. Brian Burns. Then I will go and look in our system for any leads by the name Burns. Yeah. And if they're not taken by any other sales exec, then I'll call all those Burns. But I'll go to your website and take a look at your website. Is there anything in there that I can relate to this dentist? So that when I do get on the phone, if I do get the dentist, I can have that conversation with them or find that connection somehow and have the conversation. But it is a kind of hit and miss, to be honest.
It must be a lot of detective work, because I would think you probably look at the youngest dentists because they're the ones that need new clients, because I would think it's a word of mouth market.
Both. I actually prefer, if you will, and any young dentist listening, don't listen. I actually prefer.
There's a lot of dentists that listen to the podcast.
I prefer the more mature dentist because he or she may still see value in direct marketing. And direct marketing is really what really pushes the patients into the dental practice. Yeah. It is that opportunity to have something in your hand, to read about it in the privacy of your own home, to educate yourself as the consumer to go to the dentist. But the new young dentists today, a lot of them are just strictly digital. And yes, you can have an impact with digital marketing. There's no question about it. But it's a different impact than direct mail when it comes to a patient.
Yeah. And what are dentists like to sell to?
You hope they're not watching. They're good, you know.
Tell the truth.
The brutal truth.
The brutal truth, not the.
Well, you know, unfortunately, they haven't been taken through business school, if you will. They go to the dentist school. They learn everything they need to about dentistry, but not necessarily the business aspect. So that could be a difficult thing for them to grasp, that they need to invest in order to grow. Yeah. They'll do it. They'll buy a shiny new object worth, you know, thousands and thousands. But then when they look at the marketing aspect, it's a little more challenging. They don't necessarily.
That's it, because they, you know, at least the last time I went, you know, they all have the newest toys.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure they cost a lot of money.
A lot of money. Yeah. They always have to have the newest toy.
And they've gotten very smart because they have a bunch of chairs and one dentist. So they're like trying to get the dentist only goes in at the right time.
Oh, yes, yes.
The setup and everything.
Yeah. If the office is managed properly, that's the way it should be.
Yeah. So what's the hardest part of your job?
Oh, gosh. The hardest part, I would say, is actually getting some of them to believe that what I'm telling them is going to benefit them.
Yeah.
You know, for them to understand that, yes, no, there is a return on investment, that this really does work. And we've got all the tools in place to provide them that return on investment.
And how do you get them on the phone? Because I'm sure they're busy during 9 to 5. Is that true?
Exactly. Yeah. They're busy all the time. If I'm able to make a connection at all with the gatekeeper, and I have the opportunity to get a cell phone, then we can text now. Texting is much more the norm than not. And it didn't used to be, but now it is. So if I could text, then they can answer me at any time, and that's a great thing. And I don't mind working around the clock, if you will. You know, when you can get a text. You're in sales. You're open for business 24/7.
Yeah. And let's see, where do you find I mean, in Canada, does a socialized medicine affect it? But they still need to market, right?
They still need to market.
Yeah.
Every dental office needs to market.
Yeah.
They have a huge attrition rate, 15 to 20% per office per year.
Really?
Yeah. So in order to keep the practice growing, they need to be bringing in new patients consistently.
And is there a lot of dentists being pumped out of dental school?
Yes, all kinds.
Really?
Lots and lots. Yeah, all the time, all the time.
Hmm.
But then you have your people retiring, and you have, there's new offices going in all the time in different locations. It's never a bad time to start the business if you do it right, like any business, right? If you
Yeah.
do it right.
And have you found a correlation between geography and your success, or?
Yes, actually. Yeah, there's certain areas that seem to be more open to hearing what we have to say and then implementing our programs.
Yeah.
You've got your core cities like your Chicago, Boston. We've just branched out and started attending the Colorado Dental Show and generating leads from there. Your California, your Texas, your Florida. You've got your major states. And in Canada, it's more, Ontario has the highest number of clients for us, Ontario and BC.
So it's metropolitan areas
Yeah,
versus rural areas.
Right.
Yeah.
But the rural areas do extremely well. I mean, if I could just do rural areas, they do so well. But they just, again, it's that business concept and understanding you have to invest to get a return.
And how about as far as the personalities, either that you work best with or most supportive? We already mentioned a more mature dentist, but have you seen any other correlation?
The ones that are the know-it-alls, that
Yeah.
they're very hard to work with, right? Because you have to just kind of sit back and take it and listen and get your advice in when you can. But otherwise, the people that are more open to conversation with me are the ones that I obviously excel with.
Yeah. And how do you keep the deal moving? So I can see, like, they want to know who you are, what you do, how's it work.
Yeah. So we do have a process that we follow, which is really good. I mean, you have to have a good process. It is creating that sense of urgency with them. If you don't do it now, what are you going to be like in 3 months from now? Because with the dental business, it's in the future. It's not immediate. So whatever marketing you implement now is going to benefit you in 2 and 3 months.
Yeah.
But they usually call. If they're going to call at all, it's like, okay, I'm going to jump off the bridge yesterday. What can you do for me now? But those calls are not as often as I want them. I don't want them to be in that situation anyway, but there I go.
Is there a trigger event like season or?
They usually, the beginning of the year is a busier time. January is often the best time, and that's because they know as well that a lot of people base their dental or medical appointments based on, New Year's resolutions. This is the year I'm going to be healthy. This is the year I'm going to take care of my teeth. And so then more patients are more likely to go to the practice, so you can market and get a really good response. They think nobody goes in the summer, so they don't want to market in the summer. But everybody goes every time, all year, 12 months of the year. Like, this depends on how busy you want to be, right?
Right. And some people can't get the time off, so they have to do it on.
Right. But then that's where the dental industry has changed, and that they're having appointments prior to 7 a.m. and after 7 p.m. Like, dental offices are open. A lot of great dental offices are open before and after hours.
Wow.
That's key today if you want to be successful.
And what do you think differentiates yourself as a salesperson?
I think, my colleagues are all great. I love them and they do a great job. And most of the sales team that has come through the company has been awesome. I don't know. I think that my sales come from being able to have that conversation with somebody, being authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you weren't born with that skill. How did you develop it?
I'm not too sure.
Really? It came out yapping?
I think I did. I had colic when I was a kid. That was probably me trying to talk. I think I'm a people person, and I always have been. And from a very young age, I've enjoyed being with people and talking with people and learning from them. And I think that skill has just developed through the years with being open to conversation. And I could go to a party, and by the end of the party, everybody will have come and talked to me at some point. I don't even have to move, but can tell you about, there's John Doe, he works at such and such. Like, I will have easily found out about people somehow. I'm open.
And you're curious.
And I'm curious. Yes, I'm very curious. Yes.
So what do you need to know from the dentist to determine if they're qualified?
What their production is.
Yeah.
What their goals are. What have they done in the past that worked, that didn't work? And what do they really want to get out of it? Like, what do you do? Is it because you want to buy a brand new car? Or is it because you want to take 3 weeks vacation? Or is it because you want to buy a new equipment? What is it that you want to market for? Like, why do you need new patients? Do you want to sell the practice? Are you going to retire?
Yeah.
Whatever their purpose is.
And what else do they need? Do they need social proof to see other dentists near them that are using it? Or
we provide exclusivity. So that was another thing that makes our company stand out against the competition. So we really allow our clients to stand out against the competition. We don't let anybody else use our marketing in the same proximity. First come, first serve.
So that must be a huge selling tool then.
I like to use it. Yeah. Yeah.
Curious and evil. Yeah. That's interesting. Now, how do you do that in a big metropolitan area, though? You keep it like
everything I do is by phone.
I mean, by like, how do you keep it exclusive? Is it by zip code or
zip code, carrier walk routes?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And what size deals are these? Give us a sense of that.
I don't sell great big deals. Like an average program will be about $37,000 a year.
Wow. That's still pretty big.
It's pretty big, but I mean, they're going to buy equipment that costs $200,000 and $300,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you're getting a significant return on that, it's a really good investment. Minimum 3 to 1.
3 to 1.
Minimum.
So why wouldn't they do it?
They don't believe it. Sometimes they just don't believe that they'll see that return.
Okay.
And and the investment's done on a monthly basis. It's not even like we take the money up front. They pay as they mail.
Yeah.
Or digitally, whatever kind of marketing we're doing.
Is there a way to prove it to them without?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How do you do that?
We have a fabulous dashboard that our company has designed and created themselves. It's a dashboard unique to Patient News. Yeah. And so that dashboard is connected to their practice management software system. So we're able to cross-reference address as well as have the call tracking number on the marketing. So when they phone, we can listen to the call, score the call, provide them feedback completely on how the office is handling the call and whether that patient came in for an appointment. So we can give them direct calculation return on investment. Yeah. And still it's hard to sell.
Because there are a lot of listeners that do sell into doctors. And I had coffee with a guy who sold equipment into doctors. So you must be headhunted a lot.
Me?
Yeah. No.
I'm not going to say that on this interview.
What would your manager say? I mean, it's a hugely marketable skill because and it's a hard job.
It is a hard job. It sure is. It absolutely is. 100%.
Because that gatekeepers getting a lot of calls, emails, and
all kinds, right? And then they have systems put in place where there's automated emails, automated calls, all kinds of things that I'm not necessarily for that. I like to pick up the phone and make a call.
Yeah.
Hi, Dr.
No
Burns.
call reluctance?
Not from me.
No? Ever?
No.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Except for the only place I don't like being on the phone is in my home. Like
right now.
When I had No, like when I had a landline, which I don't have a landline anymore, but when I had a landline, the kids were home and stuff like that, I never answered the phone. It could be ringing and ringing and ringing, and everybody answer the phone. I'd be like, nah, I don't want to answer it. But business, no problem.
The rejection doesn't bother you?
No. I feel that I need to. If I'm getting rejected, it's okay. What did I say wrong, or what did I not say properly to get through to that caller? Like you had a gentleman the other day. It was that quiz or that question you asked. Do you like to
win,
or are you afraid of losing?
Yeah.
And so mine was, and all my family's in sales. So I said to my brother, I said, so what do you prefer? Would you rather, are you more for the win in sales or I hate to lose? Both of us were for the win. I'd rather win. I want to win. I want to
Yeah.
win at the sale because there's a lot of losing already, right? You have to be able to handle that lose. So if I just hated losing, I don't think I could be in sales because you're losing all the time. You can't be winning all the time.
Yeah. Well, certainly in prospecting, there's a ton of losing. But,
Yes.
you
Right.
know, like say you invest a month or two in a particular deal and you lose to a competitor.
Oh, then I'd be so mad at myself.
Oh, so
Oh
you
yeah.
don't like losing.
No, I don't. I don't really like losing. No,
Right.
especially if I've invested time.
I mean, that question, it's like I got a lot of responses about
I
it.
bet you did.
Yeah. And it's a personal thing, right? It's
Yeah.
whatever motivates you is what
Yeah,
matters.
Yeah.
You know,
Now, I don't like losing when it comes to competitions, if you
Yeah.
will. So my kids, they get very frustrated with me because they're telling me that I'm always selling them on everything. Like, stop selling me, as I'm not selling you. Or if we go to play a game together and they're like, I want to win it. I don't care that you're my kid. I want to win it. And they're like, why do you always win? I said, why would you play a game to lose? I don't get that. Like, I go into something to win it, not to lose
Yeah.
it. But I'm a good loser if I had to be.
You get over it.
Yeah, I get over it.
And so how would you say your day is divided between like prospecting and working on real deals that are in progress?
I should be doing a lot more prospecting. I know that that's an area that the management probably has a challenge with me, but it's the numbers that I produce in the end. I'm the top producer, have been for 14 years. So, I mean, I'm bringing in the bacon, if you will, the way that I bring it in, like sometimes double what other execs bring in. So they don't hound me that way, but I should be making more calls than I do. So if the average sales exec in our company makes 1,000 calls, I make 200.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
it's
just smarter.
I pick and choose. That's what I say.
Right.
I say I'm a smarter. I'm picking and choosing who, but that's because I'm closing as well.
That's it. Because I would rarely see the grinder, the person who makes 1,000 calls, be the top rep.
Yeah.
Almost never.
It's just like spinning to me.
Right. Because the human brain just naturally tries to find easier and easier ways to get the pellet. Right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
It just doesn't keep hitting the bar if nothing's coming out.
Right.
It's like goes to find another thing to hit.
Yeah.
And I think managers don't get that because they think that they're all the same, and that's not true.
No, it's so not true.
Right.
Yeah.
You find the people that will talk to you. Right. That you work with.
Yeah. I'll go through the system and read the notes and read the website and just for whatever instinctual feeling, call that particular client.
But there's probably more than just an instinct. It's probably an instinct now, but you had to develop it, right?
Yes.
At first, you probably, what drove you there was that the calling wasn't as effective as it should be. Like, who's most likely? Yeah,
who's most likely? Yeah. Keep them high on the list.
And do you work like in an office with other reps, or you're at home?
I was at home for 2 years, where I am right now sitting, and I have a great office because I live on 2 acres on a lake. So I'm looking at the lake right now as I talk to you. But the office is only 5 kilometers away. Yeah. So I have a space in the office as well. I prefer to be here because there's no noise. There's nothing.
No, right.
Yeah.
And when you look at other reps or you hear other reps, how would you differentiate yourself?
I think slower, listening, having a conversation, not selling, and not just rambling. Like I know that another one of your conversations about the reading from a script. Like we all learn the script, but you don't read
the script. Right.
You just know it and you learn it. You just make it innate so that when you have that conversation, it doesn't sound like you're reading from a script. But you sure need to know the script in order to make to say the proper things. And that's where when I challenge myself, when I don't close a deal, it's like, okay, what am I not saying right? Like, where did I fall short there? What did I say? What didn't I say? And thank goodness our calls are all recorded. So I can go back and listen to the call and make adjustments to my sales pitch.
How often do you do that?
I'll listen to calls probably every other day. A call that I've made, yeah. just to hear how I sound, because you all hate your own voice, or most people do. But it was like, man, that was a good call. I want to listen to that again. Like I really like listening to the good ones as much as the bad ones.
I think just doing it is so great, right? Because otherwise we just get too comfortable with what we're doing.
Yeah.
We've got to like a little bit of polish, a little bit of,
yes,
reinforcement of the good things and the bad things to fix the bad things.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And I love listening to podcasts all the time. Like podcasts were the greatest invention to me.
Do you have a favorite?
What's his name again? Brian somebody?
Joe Rogan. That bastard.
Yeah, so podcasts, I try to read a lot. I'm always trying to hone my skill. I love to go to seminars that are not rah sis boom bah, because that's for the time, and then you leave, and then but I did do them. Yeah, but I did do them very early on in my career. I went to a lot of things that were rah sis boom bah, but sales seminars are awesome. Learning from different sales techniques, even if I take away a nugget, I find that very valuable.
Yeah. Was there any real epiphany in your career in sales where you went from just okay, then all of a sudden you got it, you found a groove?
No, you know what? That's a funny thing, because I don't consider myself, like, if you were to ask me, are you a great salesperson? I'm just like, no, I like sales. I just love sales, and I've always been doing it. But if you talk to other people, they would say, oh my God, you're so good in sales. Like you could sell snow to the Eskimos. Like you're really good in sales. So I think I've just been a people person my whole life. I've always enjoyed the challenge of winning something. And then out of that is really, there's an underlying sales skill to everything you do, no matter what job you're doing. And I think I just excelled at it. And I think just being a people person is the main thing.
But you're also a top performer, producer.
Yeah.
Right. But that's what's great. That's the definition of what's great in sales, right? Because if not just 1 month, but consistently.
No. Consistently, yeah.
That's the definition of it.
I do not like being number 2 in sales.
Yeah, you're competitive.
Yeah, I'm competitive.
Where'd you get that?
I think my whole family is in sales. Like my father was in sales. He owned his own real estate company. And my brothers and sister, we're all in sales.
Yeah. A lot of great reps have that history. I don't know whether it's osmosis about being around salespeople, or there might be some. And
I think it's an innate characteristic and character of some people. Like you see some families that are pilots. I mean, there'd be 4 people in the family.
Musicians or architects.
Musicians, artists, whatever.
Cool.
Sales leaders.
Yeah. Hey, this has been a great conversation. Where can people go to follow you?
Oh gosh, well, I am on LinkedIn, as you know, and it's just Patty Lou Robinson. I don't have any special name, and otherwise, that's it.
Now that loving winning or hating losing question has kind of haunted me since I had that episode. And of course, everyone hates to lose, and of course, everyone loves to win. But what motivates you the most, and under what context? Certainly, if you take the I hate losing mindset to prospecting, not much success there, because you probably won't prospect. If you take it to the complex sale at the very end and you're focused solely on winning, you might miss a lot of the things that could happen. So the context in sales is really critical when you ask questions like that, because what I've learned most from putting content out is that people do not think, they react. People do not take a moment, or they overthink. They can't make a decision on anything. But that's the trouble with mammals. So I think what you learned from Patty is this ability to create organic conversations. Now, it's a skill that she has. Is it a skill that you have? And how good are you at it? It's not that you can do it or not do it. We all can do it. But how good are we at it with strangers? People who don't know us. How good are you at it online? Through email, through phone calls. Where do you start? How do you build it? That's what I teach and start the conversation, get the meeting. Not only to look at that prospect list like Patty Lou does and figure out which calls to make, because she admits she doesn't do the most calls. She does the best calls. And why does that matter? Because we only get paid on the deals that we close instead of per hour or per volume. Now, if you get paid per hour or per volume, then you're incentivized to do dumb things. But when you're paid on commission, and sometimes commission only, you're incentivized to do what works and ignore or overlook or deprioritize what doesn't work. This is the critical skill of salespreneurs, because when we just do what we're told, we're going to get mediocre results. And we have to care. We have to give you know what we have to do. You have to have some kind of emotional attachment to it in the right way. Otherwise, we're not going to push ourselves. We're not going to connect emotionally with the other people. And some people, well, you don't have to. Well, you got to differentiate yourself from a robocall, right? Because those robocalls are perfectly scripted, right? And it's a human being saying it, but it's a recording of a human being saying it. So then you got to ask yourself, how much better am I than that? Are you building a conversation or are you pitching? Who wants to be pitched? What call would you get right now that you'd be reactive to, supportive of? There's probably 2 or 3 things in your life that you're in market for right now. Maybe a car, maybe a house, maybe a TV, maybe some health care. Who knows? You might be. And if somebody catches it at the right time, you might get some traction. But think of all the other things that you're not in market for now or ever. Maybe a website, SEO services, this thing or that thing. It won't matter. It's just noise and an ad to you. And that's what a lot of us have turned into because we're not working smart. We're doing what we're told, which is a bunch of dials, and managers assume that you're going to do it the smart way. They don't want you to do dumb things. They just want you to do a lot of smart things. The problem is it takes thought, judgment, and a little bit of talent to determine what to work on and what order. And that's really what I teach and start the conversation, get the meeting. I'm going to start putting recordings of some of the office hours, not the content, but the reaction and the successes that people are getting and how they're able to teach virtual assistants making under $10 an hour. Mine make $5 an hour to do this. And guess what? How fast you can scale if you're paying somebody $5 an hour and you're making $100 an hour. You can get your time on the things that are most likely to happen instead of just hitting your KPIs, because the KPIs sometimes don't generate the revenue, which is the only KPI we really care about. The other course is closing or winning the complex sale. Now, do you understand how companies buy? What do you mean? I send a quote and they send me a PO. Yeah. And what happens when they don't? I don't know. No decision. Yeah, why? Any control over it? Now, I've had some great conversations in both the one-on-ones and the office hours about controlling it, about connecting with the right people, about understanding what is going on within the company. See, we naturally are going to focus on what's going on in our head and what we need for this month, quarter, or year. But are we guiding our clients through it? We're under the assumption that they know how to get this done. They don't. Do you know how to buy something within your company? Yeah, I send it to my manager. And then it dies. Then what do? I don't know. We're stuck in this inevitable maze. What I do is I unravel the maze for you, come up with what I call a map to money so that it's customized to you and your sales situation. Now, the courses are video-based, so you have to have some motivation and some initiative. I can't drag you through it. It's not like a 2-day seminar that you have to sit through. You watch it at your own time, much like the podcast. It's all online. You can listen to it whenever you want. And the great part is that it's not just content, it's community. The office hours are becoming incredibly interactive. People are helping each other. People are getting jobs from each other. People are getting ideas from each other. So it's not just what Brian thinks. It's many different perspectives on the same problem. Because sales, it's judgment. Judgment on what to do next, how to develop a strategy, how to prevent these traps that are known, and sometimes you just get one off, and now how do you prevent it again in your next deal? Because at the end of the day, it's what deals will close. It's not how busy you are. Yes, your manager likes that you're busy, but if you're not selling, they're not going to like it as much. Because if you're not crushing your number, and what's the next thing? They look at busyness, but I never really cared about it. I'd much rather the rep that was hyper-focused, knew what to do, understood the situation, had the right concerns, and had, 3 options and wanted to pick the best thing to take it to the next level. So if you're interested in the courses and taking your game, because that's what it is. Now, when you listen to this, a organic conversation can happen naturally, but with strangers, over the phone or online, it takes a certain sequence. And you might have it already, but if you don't, or if you want to get better at it, you want to build out your own system so it scales. Because let's face it, the inbound stuff isn't what it used to be. And it's usually people looking for our freebies, not our product. They may have the problem someday, or they may not. We need to go out and find the people that you think could have the pain that we solve and connect with them and have a conversation with them. We have to create interest, not just discover it. Discovering it is a needle in the haystack approach. Creating it is a systematic approach, and how you can do that with your client. So go to b2brevenue.com. Check it out. I got a new website up. It's all cleaned up, professionally done. Got the blog there, got the free ebook. Check it out. Make sure you're also checking out the YouTube channel, Maverick Method on YouTube. I put the funny videos up there first, so if you want to subscribe there and get a little alert when they get put up. I put up the interviews as well if you want to see it visually. There's a little bit more context there. They're put there as well. And I've got the company page on LinkedIn, so just go search for the company page, follow it. You'll get all the updates. We'll see you next time. Make sure you're checking out our partners, CoVideo and Pipedrive, and giving them a shot. Tell them you heard about it on the podcast. Make sure you're checking out the other couple podcasts, Sales Questions, Brutally Honest Answers. It's a daily show, 100% content about answering questions that I get from you folks via my inbox on LinkedIn. And the B2B Revenue Leadership Show. It's much more of a leadership, I'd say probably 80% sales, other 20% is CEOs and CMOs. But you get a different perspective about what's working today and what can work for you to crush your number. We'll see you next time.